So I started working on the H2 again. When I put fuel through it, it was leaking out of the bowls, it was overflowing, it was a bit of a mess. So I took the carbs off, I cleaned them out, I cleaned all the jets. I found a couple of them have been clogged from sitting for so long. I put them all back together with new gaskets, and they held fuel beautifully. The bike fired up, it ran great, it idled good. However, it would bog down every once in a while. I noticed that the enricher plugs, which I cleaned out both the bores and the plugs themselves. However, the cable was stuck. And so I believe what happened was, after I cleaned the carbs and put the bike back together, it ran great. All 3 cylinders were firing, temperatures were even on all the pipes. But then I pushed the lever down. After that, things went to shit again. It still ran, however, not very good. And the reason for that, I believe, is that the cable, the enricher cable, was stuck. So what I just did, I removed the cable, I routed it differently, a little bit more of a smooth routing. It was kind of kinked all over the frame before. I lubed it up really well, and the free plate it came back. The cable was like brand new again. I also cleaned up the springs. I found one of the springs was not original to the bike, and it was about a 1/4 inch shorter, and that cylinder also had evidence of fuel flowing past the enricher plug into the main body of the carb. So before I fire it up again, I wanted to try a little trick I learned from Darth as far as syncing the carbs go. I made sure all the slide heights are the same. Now to check to ensure that the cable heights are the same for when they engage. Darth had the great idea of coming up with these little rods. He used a wooden stick. I didn't have any wood at the time, so I was able to grind up some dowel. The red at the end is just a marker to aid with visualizing what's happening. But basically, I've got that little notch there, and if you can see the notch, I'll rest that just under the carb there. Alright, just like so. Now you can see I've got 1, 2, 3 rods coming out. Now when I hit the throttle ever so slightly, you'll see the rods start to dip as each slide engages. And if you look what happens here, I'll begin just really gently. If you catch that, 2 and 3 engage before the first cylinder. See that? So now I know I need to adjust the height on that 3rd cylinder there, so that way all 3 slides are engaging at the same time. So in order to adjust your cable engagement in each slide, all you have to do is undo that lock nut, and then you can adjust this collar either up or down, and that will adjust the cable engagement if you have to make any adjustments to ensure that all 3 cylinders engage at the same time. Alrighty, so it took about 2-3 minutes, made my adjustments, and if you look now, all the red ends should start moving at the same time. Oh yeah. Now all this does is ensure that the cables are engaging at the same time. This isn't a be-all and end-all carb tuning method. However, I think it's a great trick, especially if you don't have one of those vacuum type testers. Either way, all credit goes to Darth off the K-Tog forum. Fantastic trick. Thanks a lot, bud. From part 2 in the video series when I first got it running, it was running 100 times better. It's firing in all 3 cylinders, all the header temperatures are all the same, there's nothing's out of whack.